Hi, 7th graders, it's Mrs. Trombley. We are now starting chapter 4, which is all about percents. So today we're going to learn a little equation called A equals P times W. You'll learn how to apply it when A is missing, when P is missing, and when W is missing. So that's our goal, to be able to figure out the A, the P, or the W. And we'll define what each one of those is in just a moment. First off, we need to review what a percent is. A percent, it's a ratio, and it's a ratio whose denominator is 100 because that's the highest you can get, right? 100%. So a couple examples. If you got a 4%, that would be 4 out of 100. So that's what I mean when I say a ratio whose denominator is 100. Also, the decimal equivalency of that would be 4/100. It makes sense, right? Because that's 4/100. I know, right? Right, again, we have 25%, and that means 25 out of 100, or 25/100. So I do want you to be able to go back and forth between all three, when it's written as a percent, when it's written as a ratio, and when it's written as a decimal. All right, so the single equation I was talking about, this A equals P times W, this allows you to solve for A, P, or W. What is A, you say? A is part of the whole amount. So what I mean is, let's say you got a 12 out of 15 on a little homework assignment. The 12 would be the A. That's the part out of the whole amount that you got. Now, the 15 would be the whole amount, and it's basically what it's out of. And whatever your score is after you figure it out, top divided by bottom times 100, you've learned that one, I think, last year, and we've been doing that a lot on quizzes and things like that when you're trying to figure out your grade. That's the whole percent. So this equation here allows you to solve for any one of those. So when you say, what do I need to get on this test in order to have this certain grade, this can help you out. All right, so we're going to practice solving for all three. And we're going to start off by solving for A. So finding A, a part of the number. Okay, it says, what number is 24% of 50? The toughest part of this, I think, is determining which one is which. So in these, it's either going to be A, P, or W. There's going to be one missing. So it says, what number is 24% of 50? Well, first off, do you see how this 24 has the percent sign after it? That's how you can identify which one the percent is. It's the one with the percent after it. So write a P above that 24%. The other number given says of 50. What number is 24% of 50? And if you notice over here, it says whole amount is out of. Whatever follows the word of is usually the whole amount. It's what it's out of. So right here, because 50 follows that word of, that's one of the little clues you can use, of 50. So that means it's out of 50. That makes 50 the W, the whole amount. So when it says what number is, we don't know. So this what number is going to represent A. And up here, if you see, it says blank is. So usually whatever's in front of the word is, not always, but most of the time, if you're having a hard time identifying, these key words can help. Whatever's in front of is. So when it says what number is, that means we don't know. So we're going to call that A. So in general, what I'll have you do is write the little percent equation to start. And then we need to plug some things in here. We don't know what A is, so I'm going to bring down the A. Now, P, the percent, it's 24%. But if I want to use that in an equation, it has to be in the form of a regular number. It can't have a percent sign after it. So what I need you to do is convert that into a number that we can use. And up here you see, oh, 4% is the same as 4/100, which is the same as 0.04. Basically, what we want to do is we want to use this decimal version. So all you need to do is take your percent given, divide it by 100, and that will give you what to use. So whenever you plug a percent into an equation, you're going to want to divide it by 100 first so that you can use that as a regular number. So instead of plugging in 24 for P, we're going to plug in 24 divided by 100, which is 24/100. And it says that W is 50. Remember when letters are right next to each other, so I could just say A equals PW. It means multiplication. So I want to take 24/100 and multiply that by 50. Now in solving this, it's kind of nice. The A is already by itself on this side of the equal sign, so all that's left for me to do is to take 24 hundredths times 50. And when you do that, I'll give you a second. If you have a calculator, you can do that too. You should end up getting 12. So what this means that 12 out of 50 equals 24%. All right, let's try one more of these. What number is 8% of 200? So first off, here's the one with the percent sign after it. I'm going to put a P above that, and I'm actually going to write divided by 100 underneath, so I don't forget to do that. And it's out of 200, so the whole amount is 200, and it's what number is. That means we don't know. So an A equals P times W. The A still stays A because we don't know what it is. For the percent, it's not, I'm not just going to put in 0.8. You're not just putting a decimal point in front. It's 8 divided by 100, which is actually 0.08, 8 hundredths. And I'm supposed to multiply that by whatever W is. So in order to solve for A, all I need to do is take 8 hundredths times 200. And when you do that, you get 16. So that means that 16 out of 200 is an 8%. That kind of makes sense. All right, in the next set, we're going to be solving for P, and we're going to find the percent. I know, there's all kinds of jokes running through my head. I'm going to try to refrain from the potty humor. So anyhow, you want to find P. Hee hee hee. Okay. It says 9.5 is what percent of 25? Now notice when you're looking at this, none of these numbers have a percent sign after them. That means we're trying to figure out what the percent is. Now you have to figure out which one's A and which one's W. So I would ask myself first, well, what's it out of? Because that's the whole amount. It says of 25. That means it's out of 25. And you got a 9.5. So 9.5 is, remember I said whatever's in front of that word is usually your A. So in A equals P times W, this time I'm going to replace A with 9.5. We don't know what the percent is, but I know I'm supposed to multiply that by whatever W is. This looks a little bit different than the other one, right? It's not just a matter of multiplying two numbers like we did before, because P is not isolated. So what you actually need to do is get that P by itself on the one side of the equation. Any ideas how to do that? I'll give you a little hint. Another way to write P times 25 is 25P. Does that look like something you recognize? I sure hope so. We spent a lot of time solving these little one-step multiplication equations, because that's what it is, right? P is being multiplied by 25. If I want to get P by itself, I'm going to draw my line. All I need to do is divide both sides by 25. So when you do this, the 25 divided by 25 is 1. P is by itself. And when you take 9.5 divided by 25, we end up getting 0.38. Now here's the deal. We might think that we're done with this. Technically, we're not. Do you remember in the previous examples how when we wanted to plug the percent into the equation, we divided it by 100 to use it? Well, this P right here has been divided by 100. In order to make it a percent, I need to do the opposite of that. So just one more time to reiterate, to re-explain. If I'm plugging a percent into an equation, I need to divide it by 100 to make it a decimal to work with. When I'm trying to get the percent out of the equation, I want to do the opposite. So instead of dividing by 100, I need to take my solution and multiply it by 100. So P is actually equal to the decimal you got multiplied by 100. Whenever you solve for the percent, you need to multiply by 100 at the end so that you can change it into the percent that it is. So when you take 0.38 or 38 hundredths and multiply it by 100, we get 38. Now I can put a percent sign after that. Now it's a percent. So don't leave it as 38 hundredths. To get the percent out of the equation, you multiply by 100. So when you put it in, you divide by 100. When you get it out, you multiply by 100. All right, let's try this next one here, solving for P. It says 36.4 is what percent of 40? I know that I'm solving for the percent because there's not a number with a percent sign after it. I see it's out of 40. That makes 40 the W. And 36.4 is what percent. So whatever's in front of that word is my A. So when A equals P times W, and yes, keep rewriting that because that's how you lock it in. I'm going to replace this A with 36.4. We don't know P, and I'm going to replace W with 40. So this is just your traditional one-step multiplication equation. I'm going to draw my line here. In order to undo multiplying P by 40, we just need to divide both sides by 40. Because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So 40 divided by 40 is 1. P is now alone. And now I need to take 36.4 and divide that by 40. When you do that, you get 90/100ths. Now remember, this P in this equation has been divided by 100. So in order to get the percent out of it, I need to multiply what I got by 100. So the actual percent here, yep, you guessed it, 91%. So that means if you got a 36.4 out of 40, your grade would be a 91%. All right, so we solved for A. That was the easiest one, I think, right? A's already isolated. We've solved for the percent. That's a little bit trickier because you have to remember to multiply by 100 at the end. The last thing we have to solve for, yes, this is just a little one-pager, is the W, finding the whole amount. So in this, it says 39 is 52% of what number? First thing I see is there's a number with a percent sign after it. So I'm going to put a P above that. I know that's my percent. It says of what number? That means we don't know. So whatever follows the word of, when it says what number, that means question mark. We don't know what that is. And right here, the number 39 is in front of the word is. So 39 is 52% of what number? That means I don't know what it's out of. But I know that the score was a 39. So in this case, the W is missing. So we're going to write our equation. A equals P times W. A is 39. The percent is 52%. But do you remember what I have to do before I can use that 52 in this equation? Yes. I need to divide it by 100. When you're plugging it into an equation, you divide it by 100 to make it a decimal you can work with. And when you're trying to solve for P, that's when you multiply by 100. And we don't know of what number, so I'm going to multiply that by W. So this is our equation that we have to solve. We need to isolate that W. We need to get it all by itself. So we're going to draw the line. And in order to undo multiplying by 52/100ths, we divide by 52/100ths. So W is isolated. And when you take 39 divided by 52/100ths, you end up getting 75. So what this is saying is, it's saying that if you got a 75 out of, if you got a 39 out of 75, that would be a 52%. There's no multiplying this one by 100. Do you know why? Because it's not a percent. It's the whole amount. It's what it's out of, so it's not necessary. All right, last one like this. 18 is 5% of what number? First off, I see a number with a percent sign after it. I'm going to write P above it, and I'm going to put divided by 100 underneath, so I remember to do that. It says 18 is. So that's in front of the word is. That's my A. Of what number? We don't know what number. So once you've identified what's what, I'm going to write our percent equation. I'm going to replace the A with 18. I'm not going to replace P with 5. I'm going to take 5 divided by 100, which isn't 5/10, it's 5/100. You need that 0 in front of the 5. And we're supposed to multiply that by the W. Now again, we just have a nice little one-step multiplication equation. Doesn't it make sense why we had to do that chapter before this one? I know. So in order to undo multiplying by that, we're going to divide both sides by that. So it's fair. Whatever you do to one side, do to the other. W is now alone. When you take 18 and you divide it by 5/100ths, we get 360. Now you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot. But remember, you get a 5%. So let's say you got 18 out of 360 questions right. A 5% would make sense, right? Because 18 out of 360 is not quite the best odds. You're done. See you tomorrow.